Good morning. Welcome to our 2022 Hatsubon service at Konohonganji Buddhist Temple. We are grateful for your attendance, either in person or virtually via Zoom. For those of you here in the temple, you may sing and recite passages while continuing to wear your mask. For Zoom attendees, as a reminder, please be sure your mics are muted throughout the entire service. A diagonal slash should be visible over your microphone icon. Obon is a time for rejoicing in the compassionate embrace of Amida Buddha. Through honoring the memory of our ancestors, Hatsubon is a service held during the first Obon season after the passing of a loved one. This is a special time to reflect upon our lives and how we are continually being influenced by those we hold dearest in our hearts. Attending this service helps to strengthen family bonds and makes us realize how precious family togetherness is, an awareness which has been heightened in today's pandemic environment. It gives us an opportunity to understand that in living life, there is loss. Although with this loss there is grief, there is also a deep feeling of gratitude and joy as we reflect on how our lives have been enriched by those who have gone before us. Rev Blayne will now chant the Sanbujo, or 3 respectful callings. The chanting of the Sanbujo by the minister invites Amida Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, and all Buddhas of the 10 directions to join us at this Hatsubon service. It symbolizes our willingness to open our hearts and minds to receive the Dharma. The chanting of the Sanbujo acknowledges the compassionate workings of Amida Buddha's wisdom and compassion in our lives.
Namandam, 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 namandam. 조에 상에 그
A dedication will be offered by Reverend Blayne.
Please join me in Gasho. We gather together in the spirit of aloha to remember our loved ones who have awakened in the Pure Land of Enlightenment. We extend our deepest gratitude to them and reflect on how our lives have been made possible and enriched by their presence. During this time of Obon, we celebrate life and the enduring bonds of love which continue on. Obon is truly a gathering of joy in which both the living and those born in the Pure Land rejoice in the universal embrace of great wisdom and compassion. We take time to remember, to reflect, and to reconnect with our loved ones with profound appreciation and joy. May we come to realize the truth of impermanence and deeply entrust ourselves to the compassionate vow of Amida Buddha and live with the Nembutsu in our hearts. Today, we remember Francis Abe, Flora Fukumitsu, Patsy Hamada, Mei Harano, Doris Higashi, Aiko Ichishita, Warren Kitaoka, Chiono Kobayashi, Mutsumi Komo, George Kurosawa, Richard Maeda, Matsuko Matsuda, Asano Matsumoto, Shizuko Nakamura, Yasue Okino, and Richard Sasaki. May their light and love continue to shine brightly within our hearts and minds, and may we find comfort and peace. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham satnam gacchami, dhammam satnam gacchami, sangham satnam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance, the one who shows us the way in this life. I go to the Dharma for guidance, the way of understanding and love. I go to the Sangha for guidance, the community that lives in harmony and awareness, entrusting in the Buddha of all-inclusive wisdom and all-embracing compassion. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda.
We will now observe a moment of silent meditation.
Namandam, 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 namandam.
The Sutra Amida Kyo will now be chanted by Rev Blayne. Please refer to your program as I read an explanation of this chant. Along with the larger Sutra of Immeasurable Life and the Contemplation Sutra, the Amida Sutra is one of the central texts of Pure Land Buddhism. In the sutra, Shakyamuni Buddha addresses Sariputra and the other disciples, describing the beauty of the Pure Land, the virtues of Amida Buddha as the Buddha of infinite light and life, and urging that all sentient beings who hear his teachings should aspire for birth in that land. The sutra encourages that we should aspire for birth in the Pure Land by saying the honored name of Amida Buddha, Namo Amida Butsu, with a heart and mind of true entrusting. During the chanting, I will be reading the names of the deceased, which are displayed on the individual stands in front of the altar. After each name is read, will the family, relatives, and close friends in attendance today please come forward to offer incense. Those of you on Zoom, as the name of your loved one is called, please put your hands together in Gasho. Rev Blayne will now commence with the chanting of Amida Kyo.
Amida Kyo Nyozengamo Nichiji Buttenzai Shaegong Giju Kiko Dokuon Yodai
In
Bikushi
joyful remembrance, we honor today Francis Abe.
Kaize Daiyaranga Shicho Jishi Shoryo Shariot Maka Mokenren Maka Kasho Maka Kasennen Maka Kujira Nihata Shurihandanga Nanda Ananda Ragora Kyobon Hadai Bingzuru Harada Karudai Maka Kohina Hakura Anuruda Nyoze to Shodai Deshi Byosho Bosat Makasat Monju Shiri Hoji Aita Bosat Kenda Kadai Bosat Josho Jin Bosat Yonyo Zeto Shodai Bosat Yushaku Dai Kannin To Muryo Shoden Dai Shuku Niji Buttengo Choryo Shariot Juze Saiho Kaju Mannoku Buttendo Usekai Myobat Gokuraku
Flora
Godo Ubud Go Amida Kongen Seibo Shariho 이동하고 묘히 고구라그 고고그 수조 무슈그 단주 쇼라그 고묘 고구라그 우샤리요 고구라 고구도 시시주란주 시시주라모 시시주고주 가이제 시호 슈쇼 인요 제고 이곡 묘밭 고구라그
Patsy
으샤리요
Hamada.
極楽国土右師菩提悪毒水十万語
Me
中
Harano.
地大順に根社富士四辺街道金言ルディありご上上右六学百位金剛ルディあり社語釈主名の二言直義地中蓮華大尿車輪小式小語大式用語釈式釈語白式白語微妙語月舍利法極楽国土上寿如是功徳相言不舍利法二部国土上沙天学黄金二次昼夜六時二万だらけ五国衆上上位昇丹学位英国上州名家供養他法十万の具分即位直事検討
Doris
本
Higashi.
国本直教業舍利法極楽国土上寿如是功徳将軍武士舍利法異国上主従奇妙座敷市長白国愚弱オムシャリガリョビンガ愚妙市長税商首長昼夜六時水和下音言音年長言根合力七宝大
Aiko
分
Ichishita.
八正道分両税東方合同主上門税音に海
Warren
人年
Kitaoka.
仏年法年相舍利法両門に市長実税財宝少々小医者が異部国土無三脈種舍利法五部国土教無三脈同士名画教宇実税商首長改税阿弥陀仏翼量
Chiyono
温泉
Kobayashi.
流変化少佐舍利異部国土未付水道小法五十具法羅門水未妙非尿薬千十願同
Mutsumi
時
Komo.
空座門税恩赦開示年上年仏年法年相死心舍利法五部国土上寿如是功徳将言舍利法お如意運が非仏がご阿弥陀舍利法非仏語名無量小寿報告無償諸下税公語意阿弥陀無舍利
George Kurosawa.
非仏寿命九条人民無量無辺なそぎご法名阿弥陀舍利法阿弥陀仏成仏如来王根自己無舍利法非仏無量無辺正門弟子海や蘭華非
Richard
前
Maeda.
三十聖書の地消防殺種薬部尿税舍利法非部国土上寿尿税功徳将軍無舍利法 極楽極道修上少者改正ばばちご中他う一生不生ご主人他一前三十少女知識単価意無量無縁阿蘇義公説舍利本修上門者応答本願合唱非語小医者が特用尿税症状善人空位一生舍利本不可一生善言福徳意念特賞非国舍利本2千万死全用人門説阿弥陀仏主持名号201日203日203日204日205日206日207日一心不良五人臨妙十字阿弥陀仏幼少少寿現在権現前人十字神父天道即徳往生阿弥陀仏極楽極道舍利本が健世利公世四言略少寿妙世世者応答本願消費国土舍利本ヨガ根者三段阿弥陀仏不可思議空洞逃亡薬阿宿微仏中味総仏大衆味仏中味合仏妙音仏尿税と合が社主小仏各王合国水工上税小変不三千大千世界戦場実言領土主張投資税小三不可思議空毒一切小仏小五年行舍利本那ぼ世界う日がとぶ妙門合仏大円見仏主味と仏無量精進仏行税と合が社主小仏各王合水工上税小変不三千大千世界戦場実言領土主張投資税小三不可思議空洞一切勝負小五年行舍利最小平世界無量寿部無量総部無量道部大公部大名部放送部高校部尿税と合が社主小部各王合合水工上税小変不三千大千世界出走実言領土主張投資税小三不可思議空毒一切小仏小五年行舍利本北方世界有見仏最小音仏南小仏二小仏妙門仏尿税と合が社主小仏各王合国水工上税小変不三千大千世界戦場実言領土主張投信税小三不可思議空洞一切小仏小五年行舍利本合法世界有志士仏妙門仏妙高仏達摩仏報道仏自法仏尿税と合が社主小仏各王合国水工上税小変不三千大千世界戦道実言領土主張投資税小三不可思議空洞一切小仏小五年行舍利本情報世界有煩悩仏宿王仏工場仏高校仏大円見仏座敷要見合心舍利中央仏法華国仏見二祭儀上州未戦仏尿税と合が社主小仏 各王五国水工上世所
Representing
偏風三
Konohonganji
千大
Kyodan,
千世
Kyodan
界
President
戦場
Linda
順
Nagai.
尿道修上小子聖書三不可思議愚道一切小文小五年行シャリホ王女因果学校明因一切勝負、称号年行、シャリホン、薬善難し、善尿人名聖書部書、説明牛教名者、聖書善難し、善尿人会一切勝負、牛書行年海徳不大天王阿のくたらん三脈三宝大税公者利本尿と海と真珠が語義書部書説者利本役人異本願根本願東願翼書阿弥陀仏国者税書人と海徳不大天大安のくだらん三脈三宝大王妃国土脈衣書脈根性脈当書成功者利音小善難し善尿人脈信者応答本願死国土者利音尿が根者小三小仏不可思議空毒非常仏道薬所殺願不可思議空毒二三税軍釈無二仏の異人難慶右神寺のシャバ国土公辱悪性公辱権辱煩悩辱修上辱明辱中徳はのくたら三脈三宝大一生修上節税一切世間南市司法シリホン統治が王公辱悪性行師南市得意あのくたらん三脈三宝大一切世間聖子南市司法税異人難部世紀教医シャリホン義書ビク一切世間天にあしらと文部創設寛義真珠サライニコブセン阿弥陀経ナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブがんにしくどく平等性際道本もないし法上安なこ Namannabu 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 namannabu
Reverend Blayne will now share a Dharma message.
Good morning, everybody, and aloha. Thank you for taking time to join us at this Hatsubon observance. As you remember your loved one today, reflect on how your journey has been since their birth in the Pure Land. May the Buddha's light of all-inclusive wisdom and all-embracing compassion give you comfort and peace. Obon is truly a special time of the year when we pause our busy lives to remember loved ones who have awakened in the Pure Land. We celebrate our continuing relationship with them during this festival of joyful memory. This act of remembering is healing because it dispels the illusion of separateness that we may feel as we learn to live without our loved one being physically present. In our tradition, these services are an opportunity to appreciate and to celebrate true and real life by remembering our loved one through hearing the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings. Grieving is a natural process that teaches us how to be in the world without someone we love. We grieve because we love, and we love because we're human, and the pain of loss reminds us of love and helps to keep our hearts open and receptive. And within our grief, we discover that love is greater than time and place, and it's even greater than death. It is this love which transforms our appreciation, our sorrow, into appreciation and gratitude. I recently read an article on grief discussing how the holidays and special dates on the calendar, right, throughout the year are never quite the same when someone we love passes away, right? There's an empty seat at the dinner table. We have one less gift to buy. These can serve as reminders of how our lives have been changed. However, these moments can also be extremely healing times for us because we can connect and share in our collective grief, and we know that we're not alone. Buddhist author Mark Madosek shares about the importance of grieving. He says, grief may be the greatest healing experience of a lifetime. Grief is unpredictable, uncontrollable. There are no shortcuts around grief. The only way is right through the middle. Some say time heals, but that's a half-truth. Time alone doesn't heal. Time and attention heals. The rituals of grief, from the bedside service to the funeral service to the yearly memorial services to this Hatsubon service, are intentional moments in time that help us to process the loss of someone we love. He goes on to say, in grief, we access parts of ourselves that were somehow unavoidable to us in the past. With awareness, the journey through grief becomes a path to wholeness. Grief can lead us to a profound understanding that reaches beyond our individual loss. It opens us up to the most essential truth of our lives, the truth of impermanence, the causes of suffering, and the illusion of separateness. When we meet these experiences with mercy and awareness, we begin to appreciate that we are more than the grief. We are what the grief is moving through. In the end, we may still fear death, but we don't fear living nearly as much. In surrendering to our grief, we have learned to give ourselves more fully to life. These services help us to embrace life in the midst of loss. They remind us that there is profound meaning in our living and in our dying. However, being born in the Pure Land does not mean those we love are very far away. They continually return to guide us throughout our lives, leading us to the world of awakening. And we meet them time and time again. Every time we say the Nembutsu. This is the dynamic working of Namo Amida Butsu, which connects us to what is true, to what is real, to what is lasting, to timeless reality. In the Amida Sutra, which was chanted this morning, It's one of the 3 sacred scriptures of Jodo Shinshu. We find the phrase, kue issho. These beautiful words describe how we will all meet together in one place. It refers to how when we entrust in Amida's vow and aspire for birth in the Pure Land, we will all meet together in the world of awakening. In our tradition, it's customary to inscribe kue issho on headstones as a reminder of the sacred promise fulfilled by Amida Buddha. If you take a look through some of the headstones in the back and the haka and the cemeteries in the back, you can find kue issho inscribed in some of the headstones. You can also find the words Namo Amida Butsu written on headstones as well. And it's also customary to find these words as we continually meet our loved ones in the activity of saying the Buddha's name, of saying Namo Amida Butsu. When we say the Nembutsu, we experience kue issho. We meet our loved ones in the working of great wisdom and compassion that sustains our lives. Obon season is here again, and unfortunately, due to the ongoing pandemic, we won't be able to hold our traditional bon dance. Normally, for our Hatsubon service, we have it the evening of the bon dance, and we go out to enjoy the festivities together. But due to circumstances, we won't be able to hold it again this year. However, we look forward to this ritual of remembrance, right? For its fellowship, for its food, for its fun, for its celebration of life, not death, of life. By gathering and dancing together, we thin the veil of separation between our loved ones and ourselves, and we feel close to them. Obon is truly a festival of joyful memory in which we celebrate life and our continuing relationship with those that have come before. Obon reminds us of the great web of life, that our lives are made possible by countless causes and conditions that we should be grateful for. We are also reminded that we have a responsibility to create a meaningful life for future generations. While Obon is a festival of joyful memory, it's also a reminder that we are links between the past and the future. Obon teaches us how well we live in this present moment is the best way of honoring those that we come to honor. Obon is truly a gathering of joy in which both the living and those born in the Pure Land rejoice in the embrace of the Buddha. While our dancing is a physical act of remembrance for our loved one, we also dance for ourselves. When we awaken to the timeless working of the Dharma in our lives, of the Buddha's boundless compassion in our lives, we can do nothing else but to express our profound gratitude and joy by dancing. This is why we dance, because we realize our loved one has been born in the Pure Land and they have become one with timeless reality, and they continue to embrace us as personal Buddhas. Obon has its origins in the Ulumbala Sutra. The word Obon is the shortened form of the word Urabon-e, which means to suffer as if being hung upside down. The sutra tells the story of Moggallana, or Mokuren, one of Shakyamuni Buddha's 10 great disciples, and how he suffered over the death of his mother, feeling a deep sense of regret and sorrow. He believed that her devotion to him had been a barrier to her understanding the Dharma, or teachings of the Buddha. However, the Buddha counseled Moggallana by asking him to reflect deeply upon this, and he came to realize that his mother's devotion to him was based on an unselfish love. With this profound insight into his mother's life, Moggallana danced with joy as his regret and his sorrow were transformed into appreciation and gratitude. Moggallana's story is also our story. The pain of losing a loved one is a natural part of human life, and how we come to understand the meaning of death enables us to appreciate the significance of this life, which is precious and unrepeatable. We come to realize how precious our lives truly are because they're made possible only through numerous causes and conditions which arise from the dynamic working of Amida Buddha's wisdom and compassion. Because of our profound connection to our loved ones, we are enabled to live. Right? If one person in this long chain of causation in our family tree was not present, we would not be here. Right? So this is a time to appreciate the preciousness, the rarity of this life that we share, that we have, because without them, we would not be possible, right? And by remembering them, we gain new appreciation for the causes and conditions which sustain our lives. Shin Buddhist author Hideo Yonezawa shares an appreciation for this fundamental Buddhist concept of engi, or conditioned arising. He says, man lives by receiving all things from the universe, like the earth, the air, water, and rice. Even rice cannot be grown without the air and water, the sun and moon. When we begin to see that we are sustained and given life by all things, we awaken to our true self. The self that is nothing but ego is also the self that is sustained by all things. As we live, we continue to awaken to our true self. This is the life of being born in the Pure Land. This is the working of Namo Amida Butsu, which is asking us to remember our true selves. Every moment of our lives is an opportunity to cross over from the world of delusion and ignorance to the world of awakening, the world of the Buddha. The wish of all enlightened beings is for us to realize the wonder and the joy of living in this present moment. This includes our loved ones who have attained awakening in the Pure Land and who have become one with dynamic activity of Amida's light, which embraces us. They live within Namo Amida Butsu, which is ever present in our lives. Every Obon, I remember my grandparents, Hatsuyo and Yasuo Higa, and reflect on how they continue to enrich my life. This year, however, is special because our family recently sold their home. I know many people have had this similar experience of letting go of some place that was so meaningful, so special. Right? My grandparents' house was my second home growing up. It was the place for all of our family gatherings and where I always felt safe and loved. Back in March, I went home to Hilo to help my dad clean out a few things. And I had a chance to walk through the empty rooms one last time. The kitchen where my grandmother would make nishime and makizushi and kombu maki every New Year's. The worn dining room table where we would gather as a family. The hothouse in the back of the main house that once had so many beautiful anthuriums and other flowers that my grandfather would grow. And the bedroom where I sat by my grandmother's bedside and held her hand as she neared her birth in the Pure Land 8 years ago. In this still and empty house, I offered a bittersweet nembutsu and said thank you. Not goodbye, but thank you. Because while they have been physically gone for many years, I continue to meet my grandparents in the saying of Namo Amida Butsu. My grandmother, Hatsuyo Higa, was born here in Ho'oloa. And then eventually she moved over to Hilo to marry my grandfather and raise her family there. And so when my grandmother passed, I was able to fly home. I was living in Honolulu at the time. And I was able to fly home and to be with her and to sit with her and to just thank her for her love, thank her for her presence in my life. And I was able to be with her both as a grandson, but also as a minister. And when she passed and we had the funeral and I had to offer the eulogy, as there's always one in the family that's always asked to, right? You do it, yeah. But it was an honor to be able to honor her in that way. But it wasn't until her Hatsubon, right? It wasn't until that moment, months later, after her passing, after the funeral, after life had quieted down, right? After the routine, and when someone passes, that there's this hubbub of activity and you're planning and doing everything, and then there's just nothing, right? And the house is quiet, and you have a chance to think and to reflect and to be able to be present. And it wasn't until the Hatsubon service that I finally was able to kind of just let go and finally be able to kind of be at peace, right, with that loss, right? But also to find joy in those memories, to find joy in my relationship with her, right? That's the importance of these services. That's the importance of these opportunities to gather as family, as loved ones, to be able to celebrate our lives, our precious lives, and the lives of our loved ones who enable us to be here, who enable us to be present. What a wonderful way to live, with a profound appreciation for the miracle of living, which is enabled not through my own strength, but that of all things. Reverend Shin-e Takamatsu shares, "My life is not a mere point that exists someplace. Rather, my life exists at a crossroad of a line of innumerable life that extends horizontally and intersects with a line of innumerable life that extends vertically. I have received a truly precious life." Obon is a celebration of our interdependent and interconnected lives through remembering our loved ones. The beautiful lanterns that we set up each year gently illuminates our journey of memory and connection. Let's take comfort and find new meaning in this ancient festival of grateful remembrance. So while we cannot dance again this year, we can all reflect on the ways our departed loved ones continue to enrich and influence our lives. This is the true spirit of Obon that we can experience and celebrate throughout the year. Please join me in Gassho, and let's recite the Buddha's honored name in gratitude, joy, and awareness for the enlightenment in the life to come. In trusting in the Buddha of all-inclusive wisdom and all-embracing compassion, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Mahalo.
Thank you, Reverend Blayne. In remembrance of your loved ones, please rise for the Gatha, Homeward I Go. Words can be found on the handouts or on your screen for those on Zoom. Please join me in reciting the Shinshu Pledge, which can be found on your handouts or on the program. I take my refuge in the vow of the Buddha, reciting the name. I will live through life with strength and serenity. I revere the light of the Buddha. I will put my effort in my work with self-reflection and gratitude. I follow the teachings of the Buddha, discerning the right path. I will spread the true Dharma. I rejoice in the compassion of the Buddha. I will respect and help others and do my best for the welfare of humankind. Namo Amida Butsu. We will conclude this service with the singing of the Gatha Nembutsu. Please be seated. This concludes the Hatsubon service. Here are a few announcements. Our next hybrid Dharma family service will be held on Sunday, July 31st at 10 a.m. We will be observing Obon family service. Guest speaker will be Reverend Earl Ikeda, retired minister, most recently of the New York Buddhist Church and Hawaii Kyodan. He will join us live from New York via Zoom. This year, Kono Honganji is celebrating its 125th anniversary on October 15th and 16th. As part of the celebration that weekend, a Bon Dance, craft fair, Chigo parade, and affirmation rites are being planned. Commemorative cookbooks and insulated grocery bags are available for sale at $15 each. They can be purchased today or by calling or stopping by the office if you are interested. There is also a fun time capsule project which you can participate in, and a souvenir booklet in which you can place a congratulatory advertisement for your business or your family. Your support in any way will be greatly appreciated. Free COVID home test kits are available. You may pick up additional boxes today, even if you have already picked up some before. They will be available, I think, actually right outside the door here on the tables. If you are interested in signing a condolence book for Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, Claudia Chang will have the book available in the conference room today from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. This book signing is being coordinated by Hawaii County. Are there any other announcements? Reverend Blayne? Again, thank you for your attendance, both in person and via Zoom, for this Hatsubon service. Those of you here at the temple, please stay for some refreshments which are being served on the lanai area to my right. Please stay safe, and we hope to see you at future temple services and activities. Again, thank you very much for coming.